Hey, what is up guys? Kevin here with P.O.G, and today we're going over the first place deck profile for Curseof's Fun for All tournament. Oh boy, we have what I'm basically going to call Tribute Interconflict. It's so much more than that, but that's the basic idea behind this. It's a 25 card deck. By the way, shoutouts to Akoska X3. If I said that wrong, forgive me. He's the person, they're the person who piloted this deck to first place in Curseof's tournament. Well, let's get right into it. As always, Interconflict, best skill. Again, as usual, if you don't know what it does, we're going to go over it. Activate the skill during your main phase, and then once per duel, you can pay half your life points to take control of one monster your opponent controls until the end phase, but cannot attack directly this turn. Again, that's okay because we're going to usually be tributing it off. Let's go into the main deck. 25 cards. That's a lot. You gotta remember the upper limit for speed duels is 30, so we're pushing it. But somehow it's doing great. First off, Grandmark, the Rock Monarch. As always, I've advocated for this card. Best card, don't dismiss it. Literally the reason that this person won in Game 3, because they were able to pop a face-down monster after using Interconflict to take another monster, tributing it for this, and then popping the face down, flipping up the breaker and attacking for perfect 4,000. So a really great card. I got rid of it. Hold on, I'm dumb. We'll fix it. It's fixed. Okay, so Red Enchanter, second best. You notice there's no Jinzo in here, and that's literally because I guess you felt like these were the better ones, and for the most part it is. Because if you know what this card does, when it's summoned, you put 2 spell counters on it, and each time a spell card is activated, you can put a spell counter on this card. When that spell resolves, gain 300 attack for each spell counter on it. So originally it's going to come out with 2,300, and it can get bigger. Also, once per turn, you can remove 2 spell counters from this card and discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand. It's summon and then a discard off your opponent. So not only are you going to get rid of 1 card with Interconflict for field presence, if you summon Red Enchanter, you're going to get another one off. So worth it. And you can keep doing this if your opponent or anybody plays spell cards. It's going to get counters, so it's going to get beefier and beefier. We'll call him Little Red Enchanter. No, it's Breaker. If you haven't heard Breaker yet, we've gone over this card so many times, but if this card is normal summon, place 1 spell counter on it, max 1, and it gains 300 attack for each spell counter on it, so then you can go up to 1,900. You can remove 1 spell counter from this card, then target 1 spell or trap card on the field and destroy that target. Very, very, very good. However, unlike Free Squeeze deck, this doesn't get more than 1 use out of it, unless it's getting returned to the hand with Magnet Warriors, but that's a niche thing. It can't do it itself. That's the problem. Still great card. Played in 3 for a reason, just because of that. It's back row removal on legs. So, moving on to Kaiku. Kaiku being the hard out 2 Magnet Warriors and mainly XYZ. This card says when it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target up to 2 monsters in their graveyard and banish those targets. Your opponent cannot banish cards from either graveyard, but you can. But Kaiku, the Ghost Destroyer, really, really good card. 1,800, solid attack, good beat stick with a great effect. Let's move on. 2 Sphere Kuriboh. It's just good defense. Pitching this card from your hand when your opponent attacks to change that monster to defense position. Really good. Saves you a lot of times. So Sphere Kuriboh still meta relevant. Moving on again. 3 Book of Moon. I don't think we need to talk about this card. We already know. I've said in every video how important this card is, and I'll keep saying it, but we won't go over it too much. Use it offensively and defensively. It's really great. 2 Night Beam. Really surprised to see this. Probably the right answer, but you know, Night Beam, still relevant too. Really, really good. Here's one thing I was surprised at though. 1 Soul Exchange. I thought there would be more in this deck before I saw this deck list, but I guess 1 was enough. And as you can see in side deck, there's not another one, so it's just 1. So I guess if you draw it, you have 1 steal and 1 tribute for your opponent's stuff over your opponent's stuff too. So I guess 2 is enough. Traps, 3 Widespread. The mini Sikaretsu armor. Just gonna keep saying that. 2 Swamp Mirrorer. Swamp Mirrorer is just good attack advantage. You activate it and declare a monster type and an attribute. Summon it as a level 4 attack, 1,800 defense, 1,000 with the type and attribute you declared. It can be summoned and attack. It can be attacked with the turn that you summon it, so it is good. You don't have to summon it on your opponent's end phase. You can just go into battle phase and attack, and if your opponent doesn't have anything, flip this up, summon it, attack with it. So, and then we have the one that does have the summoning sickness. Zoma has to be summoned in defense, but still useful here, mainly for the fact that your opponent has to attack over it, and they'll get damage dealt to them. And finally, the most confusing card I've seen on here, but I think it's still cool, Waking the Dragon. There is a lot of back row pops. We do have a lot of breakers in the format, so Waking the Dragon is slightly better in this format. You don't know what Waking the Dragon does because we haven't really seen it that much. It says if this set card in the owner's control has left the field because of an opponent's effect, and is now in the graveyard or banished, you can special summon one monster from your deck or extra deck. So, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could summon any of this stuff, but what you're really going for is this stuff. Let's go over it for Waking the Dragon. 2 blue eyes, ultimate dragons, 4500 beat stick. Arcana Knight Joker, 3800 attack beat stick with an effect that negates cards that target. So, I mean, if you had this and your opponent summoned a Grand Mark, you can negate it by discarding a monster. And if it's a spell card like Offerings, you could discard a spell. If it's a trap card that targets, then you could use discard a trap card for its effect. Dark Paladin, 2900 beat stick with a boost of 500 for each dragon monster on the field or in each player's graveyard. But the main one though is when a spell card is activated, you can discard one card and negate the activation. And if you do, destroy it. So as long as you have hand fodder, you can have basically infinite spell card negate. So, and finally, an XYZ Dragon Cannon card's really good if you get to summon it off, because it's just free pops at that point. So not much else to say. 2800 attack. Moving on to the side deck, 2 GOP. Card's still good if your opponent's playing stall or whatever. You can switch out the dark red or the Grand Mark. Maybe not the Grand Mark, but the dark red. And summon the GOP, switch everything to attack, and start attacking, dealing damage into them. So, yeah. 1 Cosmic Cyclone, because I guess there wasn't enough back row destruction with 3 breakers and 2 Night Beams, but that's fine. 1's enough anyways. I guess if you really needed it, there it is, right? 1 creature swap. This is interesting. Maybe you summon Sphere. I really don't know the idea behind this. Maybe you have another inner conflict matchup, and you give them a breaker that's been used, and you take their big Jinzo or whatever. I don't know, but creature swap's always been good, so I won't question it too much. 2 lost win. XYZ shutdown, basically. That's what this is. I guess they expected to play against XYZ a little bit more, so lost win is a great choice. I think every side deck should have lost win. So that's the deck. Pretty simple in theory, and not that hard in execution when playing the deck either. It's pretty simple. There's no real decisions to really be made. It's summon, take, and the only real decision here is when to activate inner conflict. But once you master that, I think the deck gets pretty easy to play at most points. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty straightforward on how it works. It's just on some cards when to activate them, mainly inner conflict. So you got games, but if you don't, then maybe you don't activate it. But from there, there's not much. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna end the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to give us a like, a comment, a subscribe, maybe a share here or there. Go check out all the links down in the description below. All the Discords, Curseof's Twitch, and our Twitter. So go check all that out. Let us know what you think. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me. This was Kevin with P.O.G. Until next time, guys. See ya.